Welcome to Harry's Hook. I am a journalist, big fan of boxing. I've written published articles on it. I also train and spar. Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou. It was a bit of a shocker. Fury won by a split decision, but have we crossed the Rubicon? Let's talk about it. What was a naked, shameless, dastardly, $79.99 money grab apparently turned out to be a thrilling product. Now, I have watched and analyzed some footage of the fight after the fact because I was not going to shell out that kind of skadol. In today's video, I'm going to provide some Fury versus Ngannou analysis. I'm going to break down their performances, analyze that knockdown in the third round, and how a past video of mine connects to it. I'll also talk about what this means for Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou moving forward, and ultimately I'll share some thoughts on whether I think we've been ushered into a new era. But first, if you enjoy this content, do me a solid, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. I appreciate your support. First order of business, a full bouquet of flowers, a full bouquet of roses to Francis Ngannou. He deserves them. What a performance against the heavyweight champion of the world. If you would have told me before the fight that you hopped out of the DeLorean and you had witnessed Francis Ngannou have the gas tank to go 10 rounds against Tyson Fury, drop him to the canvas, box competitively with him, and that the decision was disputed, that it was in doubt, on Ngannou's pro boxing debut, I would have told you, okay, my brain is now scrambled eggs, and a powerful pharmaceutical cocktail is the only hope of bringing me back to equilibrium. 10 rounds of boxing against the heavyweight champion. I'm a bit stunned that his stamina held up as well as it did. I mean, Ngannou has a lot of muscle and minimal experience going 10 rounds. Now look, of course he showed some fatigue, but not as much as I was expecting. Another thing, Ngannou's chin and toughness. Really impressive. He took what Fury had dished out, and of course, okay, Fury maybe didn't throw as much as he normally does, but still, he absorbed it well. And maybe, I'm sure it helps that Ngannou weighed only 5 pounds less than Fury at the weigh-in, but that again underscores how impressive it was that he went the full 10 rounds carrying that kind of weight. And with that mixed martial arts background, Ngannou really nullified the clinch. Fury particularly enjoys using his size, and he's quite clever about wearing down his opponent in the clinch and manipulating, controlling them. Ngannou wouldn't let that happen. Ngannou also displayed some sharp tactics and admirable brazenness. There were times that Fury got frustrated and would switch southpaw, and Ngannou mirrored him. Or there were times that Ngannou would just go southpaw himself while Fury was orthodox, and he did a pretty good job landing shots and battling Fury's lead hand from that position. The ring IQ really showed in the third round knockdown. It was a very smart counter to Fury's favorite combination, a combination that I made a video about some time ago. In short, in essence, Fury's favorite combo is feinting the left hook and throwing the right hand behind it. In fact, it was the very first combo he threw in the fight. And here he fires it, but then throws it again, and Ngannou responds with a textbook catch and counter, firing a left hook over the top of Fury's extended right arm. An excellent and intelligent counter. You can see the look on Fury's face. This was no flash knockdown. The Gypsy King was legitimately buzzed. Kinda reminded me a bit of Gervonta Davis's KO of Leo Santa Cruz, who had thrown 2 rights before firing a third, which Tank slipped and countered with a beautiful uppercut. Both underscored the danger of throwing the same punches or combos in a row in a predictable rhythm. Gotta give some credit to Mike Tyson. He trained Ngannou, and I suspect that he had a heavy hand in the ring IQ and tactics that we saw Ngannou execute so well. Fury skirted away with the split decision. He landed 71 of 223 punches according to CompuBox, plus an elbow. I mean, what the hell was that? Ngannou landed 59 of 231, and while Fury was given the nod on the cards, it's clear that Ngannou won the night. Now, I want to primarily give credit to Ngannou, but did Fury underestimate him and take him lightly? Now, Fury did say a lot of good things about taking Ngannou seriously in the lead up to the fight, But that's a bit belied by the fact that Fury committed and signed to fight Alexander Usyk while he was ostensibly training for this fight. Was that really Fury's peak performance in the ring? Probably not. But I'm sure some of that had to do with the fact that Ngannou was awkward to fight, not like other boxers. Another note, Fury tasted canvas 4 times over the course of his trilogy against Deontay Wilder, so I think there is a question of how softened up is Fury at this point. His heart is never in question. But the query in my brain related to Tyson Fury right now comes from Christopher Nolan, or more specifically, Bane from The Dark Knight Rises. Here it is. I was wondering what would break first, your spirit or your body. I was wondering what would break first, your spirit or your body. It's a bit hard to say whether that knockdown from Ngannou came because Fury has been tenderized by Wilder, or just because Ngannou has Hulk strength. I'm gonna lean towards the latter, unless proven otherwise. So what does this mean for both men moving forward? Well, for Fury, ideally now it clears the way for him to fight against Alexander Usyk for the undisputed heavyweight crown. I do not want to see him fight Ngannou in a rematch, okay? I made a whole video ranting about Fury versus Ngannou when the fight was made, with my main beef being that I want Fury versus Usyk, okay? We haven't had an undisputed heavyweight champion since Lennox Lewis about 2 decades ago. The fight against Ngannou was a clear money grab, which turned out to be a much more compelling fight than we thought. But I think if Fury takes Ngannou completely seriously, now that he knows what he's dealing with, and makes full use of his jab and boxing skills, then it could get ugly. And Ngannou came out of this with his stock so high. I wouldn't want to see it potentially get tarnished. Plus, a rematch would hold up the heavyweight division even longer. And it's not fair to Usyk, who holds most of the belts. Francis Ngannou. Now, he says that he's not done with boxing, and I gotta tell you, I hope that's the case. I didn't think that I would say this before Fury versus Ngannou, but I want to see Francis Ngannou box again. I'm intrigued. He showed some real skills, and I'd like to see what he looks like against some other heavyweights. Let's see him get some nice more paydays, which he richly deserves, and who knows what'll happen. And that brings me to my final point, which is that we have been ushered into a new era. This was no YouTuber or celebrity boxing match. That's a different thing. What I'm talking about are genuine crossover MMA versus boxer boxing matches. Francis Ngannou did what Conor McGregor couldn't. He faced off against a current active boxing world champion, and he made the fight compelling and debatable. He dropped Fury and acquitted himself brilliantly. While McGregor did acquit himself very well against Mayweather, the outcome always felt inevitable. Ngannou has made the prospect, or at least the perception, that an MMA fighter can step into the ring and beat a world champion boxer legitimate. Let's take a step back and try not to overreact though. I think that this prospect really mostly applies to the heavyweight division, where one punch can make the most difference and the work rate is not as high. I believe the vast majority of MMA fighters would lose to their boxing counterparts in the ring, because their craft just isn't on the same level. But Ngannou proves that for the special few in MMA who have the skill, the physical gifts, the latent talent, the commitment, that winning in this realm may not be as much of a long shot as it seemed before this fight. And that right there is Harry's hook. Let me know what you think in the comments. Did you watch the whole fight? Who did you have winning? And what do you want to see next for Francis Ngannou?